The wave of violence which has rocked Israel and the West Bank for the past year and a half has posed a major challenge to the Israeli security services. Hundreds of attacks have been carried out by Palestinian youths with no links to established terror networks. In adapting to this new kind of threat, the Israeli military has employed some unorthodox techniques. This room may look like some sort of experimental high school theater, but in fact it's something entirely different. We're standing in the middle of a simulator, which essentially trains IDF soldiers to handle lone wolf attack scenarios. The simulator places a soldier in front of a large screen, on which video is played. The footage displays a scenario shot from the soldier's perspective. Here we see typical scenes from a civilian protection mission at a West Bank bus stop. It begins quietly, but then something happens. The idea is to simulate the typical attacks that have become common in recent months: stabbings, vehicular rammings, or in this case, a combination of the two.
We designed the system so that at any given moment in the scenario, the soldier must make a decision on how to act. If he acts one way, the scenario will go in a certain direction. If he makes a different decision, the scenario goes in a different direction.
These firearms are hooked up to the simulator, but the focus here is not on target practice, but rather mental preparation.
We have the soldiers face different sort of dilemmas, testing their courses of action in relation to what they were taught beforehand.
In this case, the soldier must rule out the possibility of a potential traffic accident before he can open fire. The scenarios are based on real attacks.
After an incident, we study it, draw lessons and conclusions from it, and build a scenario. After that, we physically go to the location. We stage the scenario, film it, and put it through an editing process.
The scenarios are rarely clear-cut. Here, for example, a stabbing attack has begun. But civilians stand in the line of fire. The soldier must improve his position before he can shoot. Meanwhile, two victims are stabbed.
It's not always right to shoot from a distance, and therefore you need to first get closer, to get around the people who are not threats and remove the threat itself. The system simulates both the threats and the complexities. When you experience these ahead of time and you make mistakes, you make them here, and the next time you encounter the same situation, you know, I'm not going to make that mistake.